Welcome back to episode 77 of the Block Runner Podcast. I'm your host, William, always here with your co-host, Iman.
What's up, Willis?
Hey,
You
man.
didn't miss the intro this time. Well
No, we
done.
didn't. We were just talking about how last time we didn't do the intro because we were just having such a good conversation. I just hit record.
What was the conversation? Do you remember? Were we talking about the end of the world?
We were talking about the end of the world, yes.
Okay. Well, it's been a week. It's a week later, and the world did not end. And apparently, I was totally wrong about the price of cryptocurrencies. And
Yeah.
because, yeah, I was expect. I mean, I said for the short-term traders, like be mindful of like all the macro shit going on in the world, but it doesn't necessarily mean like tomorrow everything's gonna collapse, right?
Yeah. No, I
Like
mean,
that's not what I was saying.
we had that conversation, and then I think like the next day or two, Bitcoin went
Like
from,
literally the next day, Bitcoin just came alive, dude.
yeah, yeah.
Bitcoin's like, fuck off, dude. I'm not worried about the world status. You know,
Yeah.
Bitcoin
I mean,
is just chilling.
if you go back to the nonlinear regression curve, the one that I believe in, I don't know if you believe in that, right?
I mean, it's 10 years of data, and
Yeah.
it's pretty persistent. It's pretty consistent. It's like hard to dispute until it fails completely, which it
Yeah.
hasn't.
Which it
It's
hasn't.
hold.
10
It's held up.
years.
Yeah, and it
Um,
totally bounced off like the very very peak bottom of like the that little moon chart.
yeah, and I also did the meme lines
Yeah,
disregarding
meaningless.
the 100-year pandemic, and it's right on track, dude. It's on
Yeah, it's
track.
kind of hard to believe. Maybe like I don't know, a year ago when we were first starting this podcast, we were kind of like talking about like projecting like this, it's gonna do this, it's gonna do that, and then we're like halfway there,
Yeah.
and it's doing pretty much what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But we're not the only ones. That's where my skepticism lies, dude. Like everyone's looking at this same shit, the same chart.
Yeah, and they're saying pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah, so it makes me skeptical. Like, there's no way
But you know
everybody's
what?
right, dude.
You shouldn't be skeptical because those people that you're listening to that are saying almost the same thing that we're saying, they're so far the minority, like compared to the vast population. The vast population isn't paying attention to
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
yeah.
It
It's
seems like
just
everybody is just because we're in this bubble, this echo chamber. But
yeah. It's like being. It's like we're all board members to like a big future Fortune 500 company, right? Like we
yeah,
all believe in the company.
yeah,
We all
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
understand.
That's true. That's a good analogy.
Yeah, like we all know what's going on and we know where it's headed.
Yeah,
That's why we're part of the board investors like early on. So we're all going to get rich, or else we wouldn't be a part of that team.
yeah,
But to the outside world, they just don't know.
yeah. They don't even know.
They just don't know. So one day, like it'll be in front of them, like because the price will be so high, they have no choice. Kind of like what Tesla's going through right now, right? Like everyone is forced to notice Tesla. But 10 years ago, nobody gave a shit.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
now everyone talks about it because it's blowing up the stock market, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It literally shit on every other car manufacturer in the world.
yeah, yeah.
You
That's
know,
true.
so yeah, Bitcoin could be on that same trajectory, dude. It's just it's hard to believe in for one because like it's too good to be true if you're one of us like
Yeah,
actually invested in the damn thing and it turns out exactly how you want it to turn out, like positive.
yeah,
And then also the whole macro side of things, like my personal beliefs of where the world is headed as far as like economics go and social unrest, things like this.
yeah. And speaking of, the United States is about to give another stimulus check to everybody.
Yeah, yeah, it's another $1 trillion in the bag, dude.
Yeah, dude. That
Plus,
means that means that's more fuel to Bitcoin's fire, dude.
well, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
it's gonna take more money to buy an entire Bitcoin just because of
Yeah.
inflation, right? I mean, we won't see that for a good while, but still.
Mhm.
I mean, that's how fiat works, right? Ultimately, the more fiat money there is in circulation, the less value it has.
Yeah, it's just I don't know whether or not you believe like you agree with me, right? That like equities and like the traditional markets are on a runaway bubble phase, right?
Oh yeah,
Do you agree with me?
yeah, we should try to find that and
all you have to do is pull up the Nasdaq and look up the monthly chart of its entire existence.
Yeah, let me
And
try to pull it up.
that's enough to paint a picture. I mean, the Nasdaq is only like really it's like tech stocks, but still,
Yeah.
tech stocks pretty much run the stock market these days. It's like the driving force behind this bubble. So it's a good representation of like how manic the markets are right now. If you want to share that.
Okay, I'm pulling up Nasdaq and full featured chart. And then you were looking at the weekly, right?
Monthly.
Oh, monthly.
Yeah. These are long, these are old markets, like they've been around.
Oh no, this only goes back to 2003, man. That's not long enough.
Yeah, it should go back to about the 80s. I think that's when the Nasdaq was created.
No, these are yeah.
What's happening? Still working?
No,
I'm
man.
at.
Yeah, see if you can find it, and then we'll share your screen because I got other stuff to share too.
Okay. And I'm looking it up. And here it is. I found it.
God damn.
Now, I don't want to share my screen just because there's like way too many porn tabs open. So I'm going to give you the link instead.
Wait, is this it? No, I don't think this is it.
There's the link.
All right.
Just make sure it's on the monthly scale. And pow! Just kind of like just bring it in a little bit, like.
It says access denied.
Oh my god. Okay, you know what? Fuck it, dude. I'm just gonna like draw it on Microsoft Paint, dude. Actually, you know what? I'll share my screen. Wait, what the fuck?
Microsoft Paint.
No, actually, I actually have it saved on my Microsoft Paint, so I'm gonna pull it up.
But why? What's the ticker symbol for that?
It's the NDX.
Okay,
NDX.
Okay, I think I got it.
Got it?
Okay. I wonder why it denied me.
I don't know, dude. It's just another string of bad luck. It's been happening a lot lately.
Here it is from the 80s.
We might get into that later. I don't know. It's undecided. A string of bad luck we're running into. But we also have good news, though. So there's some nice balancing going on in the world from our perspective.
Yeah. Okay.
We got good news and bad news.
All right. So I'm going to share screen here.
Okay. I haven't seen it yet. Let me know when you do it. There we go.
All right. So here it is from 1985-ish or 1980s down to right now.
Dude, that does not look like what I'm looking at. Dude, what the fuck? Why does this always happen?
I don't know. But yeah,
hold on.
Okay, wait, hold on. So this is that's with logarithmic off.
Oh, dude, there you go.
Yeah.
That looks way scarier.
Yeah, it certainly does.
It fits my narrative much better, dude. When
just whenever you manipulate the chart to fit a narrative, right?
Exactly. Right. If I'm trying to scare a bunch of people and get them to sell off, this is what I show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a perfect little mini bubble right behind it, dude. It's pretty crazy. It's like seeing two tornadoes coming at you at the same time, dude. You get to see like a category 1 first before the category 4 hits. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're like inverted tornadoes, dude. Look at them. So my narrative is that we're on our way up to a runaway mania phase of a bubble. Like, look how fast the market has rallied from the COVID drop-off, dude. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
It's actually absurd. Not just rallied, but, like, ballooned way past what happened
it was like as before. If there isn't a worldwide pandemic.
Yeah, as if there is no economic problems, as if there's not 20% unemployment.
Yeah.
And, like, unemployment support is not about to run out any day now.
Right.
as if there aren't people in the streets burning buildings down and like, protesting for equality and all kinds of things. Yeah, people aren't dying by the truckloads from a virus. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Does this make any sense to you? No, not to me. So
But
I
isn't
look at
this
these
the
things.
product of quantitative easing?
Well, of course, this is all just injected money into the markets, because they have to keep this thing afloat because we depend on it. If this thing goes down like it should have in 2008, but we prevented that from happening because of the QE, you know.
Well, that would mean like the really smart investors who understand what you're talking about, they're selling off right now, right?
I don't know what the smart people are doing, honestly. I mean, Warren Buffett already like
Yeah, he's
liquidated all of his bank stocks like months ago. And
yeah,
that's a guy, he's like a perma bull. He's been a perma bull since he ever started investing. He's never liquidated any of his positions ever. This is the first time in his career where he's like, you know what? Fuck the bank stocks. That's Warren motherfucking Buffett, the best investor in the world of all time. And
yeah,
he's if that's not an indicator of like get the fuck out, I don't know what is.
yeah, for
You know what I
sure.
mean? But the market doesn't reflect that. Now, Warren Buffett looks like an idiot, right? He missed out on
Yeah,
this manic run up phase. But this isn't like rational market behavior. This is something else. This is like when Bitcoin rallied from 10K to 20K in like a week or however long it took.
right.
That's not rational. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, for sure.
So I look at this and I'm skeptical of any positive, Bitcoin valuations just because, like, we talked last week. I don't think Bitcoin survives this storm that's coming, this inevitable hell on Earth.
I
All
mean,
right,
but
I'm gonna
if
stop,
anything,
dude.
if any, if
I'm gonna.
anything survives it, what is it? What is it going to be?
I don't know,
Like,
dude.
I mean, what do
Fucking
you buy land? Oh yeah, yeah.
Twinkies.
I guess you were talking about
I
bullets
could buy Twinkies,
and
dude.
chickens, right?
Yeah, man, practical things, dude. Like, well, for like a normie person who's just trying to survive the winter. Yeah, those are the things that are going to be valuable to us. Like, we're not going to care about how our wealth is doing whenever there is no wealth to be had.
Well, you can't get food, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be rough, dude. Like, not many people are going to have sources of income. There's going to be a lot more dependence on government for these things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be tons of government programs just to keep people fed and alive. It's going to be rough. This is where like socialist ideas are going to become very popular because we have no other choice.
Uh-huh.
Either the government supports this or we all just die because the market that we live off, like we
Well,
killed it, we
that we're
destroyed it.
propping.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't. But in the meantime, hooray, dude! Bitcoin is up. It's actually up pretty good, man. I'm happy about that.
So have you changed your sentiment on Bitcoin in terms of like the $120,000 prediction that we have for like about a year or
See,
two
that's
from
that's
now?
my point. Like, I don't know when. So looking at this chart and like, what was that?
I don't know.
Okay, but do you agree with me that we're in this runaway mania phase, and at some point we're going to reach a top, and then an inevitable correction phase is going to follow, right? Just
For
like what you
Bitcoin,
see
right?
over here. No, for the markets,
Oh,
the traditional equities.
well, let's see. I wanna take a look at these dips here and kind of understand like the time frame. So this is the housing market crash,
Correct.
right? 2007 to 2009.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much of a crash now, does it?
Yeah,
But
it's
keep in
like
mind,
nothing.
this is like a representation of the tech stocks, so tech wasn't hurt as
Yeah,
bad as
that's
like
true.
yeah.
But think about it. The housing market crashed, but it affected tech stocks to a certain extent,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
like Bitcoin, it's not connected to the economy in any like significant way. So it's gonna suffer its own little dip once this shit crashes, right? But
Yeah, but
it's not. It's gonna recover much faster just because, like the pandemic, it went from 9,000 to 3,000 in like an hour, right in March.
yeah, it's just literally like one day we
Yeah,
lost like 60, 70% of the market.
And
Pretty
then just
crazy.
like a week later, it was at 7,000 again.
Hmm.
So I mean, Bitcoin's gonna feel it too, but it's gonna be for like a short amount of time. Short in relative terms, could be like a month or so or whatever, or even a
So,
year.
so you think, well, if you look at the previous bubble top from the dot-com boom, this thing that did not take like one day to correct. This is like a multi-year bear market in the stock
Yeah.
market. So more than likely, it's going to take years for the stock market to correct and find its bottom, and then find that happy return to normal phase. Right? It takes years.
Well,
So
yeah.
so will Bitcoin act independently of that? I mean, we already saw during the COVID crisis, it does not. It is not some safe haven. Crypto market is not safe from like what's going on
For
in the
sure.
real world. Whenever markets collapse, crypto markets follow. Because there are people at the end of the day. If people are scared, people are panicking about their investments.
Yeah,
The
but
first thing you
ultimately,
do,
so I don't think we might not be talking about the same thing because it's not as if Bitcoin is in like some inert, a financial tool. It's still connected to humans, and humans have like sentiments about everything, including Bitcoin.
yeah,
And so, there's a chance you might not even feed your family. You're going to sell your Bitcoin, right? So the
mm-hmm.
prices are going to go down.
Yeah,
But the question is, if you have financial resources, where do you store it? And to me, it still seems like it's Bitcoin.
but it's not because Bitcoin's only what like $100 billion market. I mean, really, it's precious metals. It's the multi-trillion-dollar markets that are actually in all-time highs right now. Basically,
Mm.
it's showing that it's working. That's what the truly wealthy do. They put their money into vehicles like that. Or I mean, I'm sure there's other strategies I wouldn't know. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you they're not storing their wealth in Bitcoin, at least not yet. you know
Yeah, but
it's
if not
just,
now, when though? Like, when's that
I
time?
don't know, man. I don't know. This is a great question. Yeah, like you would think if Bitcoin is that's if it's truly a safe haven, it's a place to store your wealth in the event of like a collapse of traditional equities, the price should just go through the moon, right?
Yeah.
It should hit 100K like by next year while the stock market is like tumbling. Like, is
Yeah, yeah,
that going to
yeah,
happen? I don't know. Like,
yeah, yeah.
that's my point. I don't know what's going to happen, but that should happen if Bitcoin was really a store of value. It already failed the first test from the COVID drop off. You know.
Well, I'm not so sure. I mean, even the tech stocks, they were hit when the housing market crashed. So, I mean, nothing is like
Yeah,
disconnected
nothing.
from everything.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and it's rallied and it's back to higher than it was previously. So,
Yeah. So
um,
this is like we're just trying to talk out like, what's logical. I mean, obviously a lot of these things that we're talking about, it isn't logical, right? It's not logical that Bitcoin went from 10 to 20,000 in a couple of days.
yeah, you're kind of like you're comparing again. You got the 10 years of data, which is that chart that you talk about. What is it called? The
A nonlinear regression curve.
Yeah. So you have to compare your belief in that it's going to withstand its integrity throughout all of time
Yeah.
versus like some unknown future event that could potentially test that you know
Yeah.
test that chart out. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's the safer route is probably to go with the proven data. It's like an actual thing, right? As opposed to just speculating on some doomsday scenario. So
Yeah. I mean, if you're Warren Buffett, I mean, he doesn't have that much more longer on Earth, right? So he's got to pull out at some point. I would imagine, maybe, unless I'm sure his funds are now run by like a huge financial team, so they have their own
oh, I
they
don't
have their
know.
own vested interest to maximize their gains, and so
Mm-hmm.
probably selling now, considering the climate, is probably the best idea.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. I think if Warren Buffett is selling his bag, you should be considering selling your own bag too.
Yeah. I don't think he sold every bag, but yeah, he definitely sold.
No,
I
he's
think.
definitely. I think he's also involved in like some cryptocurrency now.
No way.
Yeah, I have to
No
look it
fucking
up
way,
though
dude.
because I saw it. I don't know where I saw it. It's probably Twitter.
It's probably like some guy named Jimmy Buffett or something, dude. Like,
Jimmy.
there's no way it's the same guy.
Yeah.
But besides that, so yeah, we were talking about that last week, and I guess we just ranted even more. But the good news is I'm wrong so far. Yeah, the markets are rallying, which is good. It's hopefully everybody's anticipating like some type of 2017 like scenario in the future.
Yeah.
All right. Because, I mean, if everyone's honest with themselves, that's the majority reason why most people are involved in this space, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you're honest with yourself.
That's a good segue for this.
Yeah, a lot of people would like to claim, I mean, and it's true in a lot of cases, but not the majority case, that people are here for purely tech reasons.
Yeah.
I think that's
So even Maddie, he had like the same question we were just chatting about earlier. So
mm-hmm.
he asked everybody, if you're in crypto, you're here for the what? For the blank. And the options were tech, money, and community. And tech got 37.9%, money got 46%, and community got around 16%.
Mm.
And so you're saying that majority of the people in crypto are here for the money.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think like I'm more honest. There's like I think a few weeks ago we had a discussion about, uh, in relation to not just Decentraland, but like any blockchain project, I guess. Like it's like an 80-20 rule that we kind of came up with. If you're a game dev or a project dev in the crypto space, you have to realize like you, if you're trying to maximize, revenue potential, like any smart business would want to do, right? You have to target the proper demographic. And in my mind, 80% of it are these crypto moon boys that are only here to make a buck.
Yeah. Yeah.
20% of the people actually care about the technology. They care about the community. They care about
The gameplay.
or the philosophy behind the decentralization, all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think it's so you can't ignore them either. Like obviously you want to operate with integrity, right? And make actual solid products that stand for something. But for business, like why do you think most of the projects failed during this 3-year bear phase, right? Because
Right.
the money was gone. The wave of the 80% retracted from the market, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you don't keep that 80% happy, dude, then they're not going to stick around. And I
Yeah, I
think this
mean,
project,
if think about it, if the 80% is just in it for the money and everything just goes down, they're just going to disappear.
they're going to
And
disappear. They're not going to stick through the tough times, right?
yeah,
Because the incentive is no longer there to do that, you know.
it's true.
So I don't know. I don't is that is that something bad? I don't know.
No,
I
I
think
mean,
because you need those people too, you know.
yeah, it's I mean, I like the technology, I like the tech behind it, but obviously you can't really operate a business without the money aspect. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really surprise me. And we were talking earlier how I think what keeps like active engagement like on a daily basis, NFTs and crypto, is the potential that you might miss out. It's the FOMO aspect in a not. I'm not saying FOMO like in a way that you haven't done any research. FOMO in the sense that you want to be well breathed on what's going on within the crypto community to know what what potentially has a lot of gains in the future. Because like if you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss out on something that's like a Tesla version of cryptocurrency, where it has a lot of applications, it solves a lot of problems, and you want to be in early versus later, right? So I think that's what keeps like constant daily engagement, like just researching and engaging with like everything that you see
Yeah.
and communicating with people. Like even in our Discord, some people mention other cryptocurrencies that they put money in, and it helps us like learn about the different cryptocurrencies that are out there, whether it's worth it or not to get in. Like that's up to the individual doing research, but at least you know what the zeitgeist is talking about, right? The group of people in crypto, what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, so yeah, money. I mean, dude, money drives pretty much everything.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not. Uh,
And it's not. I mean, it's not ugly. It's just that's how the systems work. That's how the economy works.
well, yeah, it's the incentive models we have currently. It's
Yeah.
not. It's that's something people want to like uh, proudly admit, I guess, that they're driven by that because it seems like shallow and
It
yada yada
does.
yada.
It's like it has a negative connotation.
Yeah, it does. But deep down, everybody, yeah, like you said, everybody just wants to create the best life you can for themselves, right? And the people they love, all that stuff. That's kind of like the whole purpose,
Yeah.
I think, to living. So money is the vehicle to do that. It eliminates a lot of stress and problems from your life if you acquire the money to, you know, stabilize your future. But I guess there's a limit to that. Once you get over like a certain status, that's when people start to look at you like in a negative light, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you like if you say you're one of those people trying to get to that level, like it just seems like you're not in it for the right reasons. Like whatever endeavor you're in.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I
Like it's
mean,
way sexier for like when an athlete retires early, and people are like, why do you have so much, you're like 28 years old, you have so much potential still, you could be like one of the best ever. And he's like, well, I'm happy. I made enough money to where like I could secure my family and my kids, my kids.
yeah.
Like I'm good. Like I'm gonna save my body, and he made like a rational decision. Like I'm out, but the people are pissed off at this guy because they want his answer to be like, no, I don't play for the money. I play
Yeah.
for like the glory of the sport.
Yeah.
I play for like to be the best of all time, some shit like that. Some kind
Yeah.
of
And I'm sure there's an element of maximizing their money too, to a certain extent. And their
mhm.
brand is about being the best that they can be, while behind closed doors they're hustling on like trying to make the best deal, which they have agents for that. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
right.
but they can maintain that brand.
Yeah, like if from a fan perspective, you would prefer if they would be like, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice my money so that we can bring on other teammates. You
Yeah,
know,
and to a certain extent, I mean, if you go look at the Golden State Warriors, a lot of them have sacrificed, a portion of their contracts to keep the team together, and they were successful. I think they won what, 3 championships within like 5 years. So
so I guess that makes sense then.
yeah,
Yeah.
for them it makes
So
sense because the long term game was like potentially much bigger. If you have,
yeah, because
yeah, if you go to different teams, they're gonna pay you as like a champ,
mm,
right? Not some scrub. So
yeah, and also just like the own personal brand now. Like Steph Curry, I guess he could, if you really wanted to, he could sell
yeah,
a line of basketball shoes,
for sure, for sure.
sneakers, and make a killing off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't confuse the most game
But how
focused
often does that
player.
happen now?
Yeah, I wouldn't confuse like maybe Michael Jordan. Yeah, if you have you seen the documentary for Michael Jordan,
I
The
haven't
Last
yet.
Dance, dude, you got to watch it. It's really good. I
Yeah, I
keep
really
telling you
want
stuff
to.
that that you should watch, but this one's good because first of all,
No, this one I actually want to watch.
it
Like,
was
really.
edited by Michael Jordan, so
Hmm.
he cut out some stuff that he didn't want to show, right? So you have to watch it with context, right? But
Yeah.
it's still good to understand like his work ethic and how he sort of was an asshole, but it was
Mhm.
warranted asshole, like because he wanted to be the best. Like
Mhm.
his drive was to be the best at any cost, and he could have made a lot more money, but he didn't.
Hmm.
So, and he didn't for a lot of reasons because his agent was his like uncle or something,
Hmm.
or his dad. I don't remember. Um,
But I kind of want to like segue now into like why we're talking about money, I guess, and stuff like that. I don't know, dude. I guess because like we still have these same conversations, uh, like we had one last week at the round table. Talk Sam brought it up, the Polygonal Mind CEO,
mm-hmm, yeah,
about
yeah, Daniel.
yeah, about like issues with as far as like developers being able to sustain themselves in the Decentraland ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a real issue that needs to be talked about because I think if people don't understand this yet, like yeah, Decentraland is like a the goal of it is to be like a decentralized project or game ecosystem that's run by its users, right? We're nowhere even close to that
Yeah.
phase yet. But if that's the case, like we still have to think of it as like a business. How would a business operate? Yeah, it's a game, but every game is a business, right? Every game that you like to play, you know, World of Warcraft is a business. Call of Duty is a business. You know, Dota, everything. So you have to think about it like how the fuck if it's supposed to be like community generated everything, like how are we going to fund all this stuff? People don't work for free, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think just the idea of assuming everyone who's a mana holder is going to be incentivized to like work and develop purely off of the interest of increasing the value of that mana is
Yeah.
enough. You
Yeah,
know.
I know where you're going with this, and it costs a lot of money to pay developers to build anything,
Mm-hmm.
and the amount of money required to make anything is just too much, and grants aren't enough to really build any meaningful content.
Yeah,
And
like we could keep spinning the cycle we're in now. Like, okay, a grant can fund like a nice little mini game that takes, you know, maybe a couple of days to develop, right?
yeah,
Or maybe like a nice little 3D scene, and there's like a couple cool things to look at. We throw it in the world, we host a big event around it, and then everyone goes home, and we're back to square one, right?
yeah,
We still have the same DAU issue. We still have the same
yeah.
every.
So there's a couple of underlying issues that we should probably discuss, and maybe include more people in the community too. But like, what's the goal here? I mean,
Well,
like
that's what I'm saying.
what's the collective goal? What should we all be focusing on? Is it just the
Yeah.
DAU? Is it creating an economy in Decentraland? What's the goal? I mean, because that isn't happening, right? DAUs isn't going up. So we have a lot to say about this, but
They peak at certain events and moments, but like I don't think that's the right
the
approach.
reason they peak is because of the 80% rule. Is that
Oh
there's a
yeah,
financial incentive to peak at that moment, and there's reasons why it peaks for
yeah.
financial gains, but there's no there's no there's no stickiness, right? As soon as they get their NFTs, they're gone.
I guess then if so, that's proven data then we have to take from these events that are proving that, right? They're putting these POAP machines outside in order to incentivize people to attend. They are selling jerseys or whatever to incentivize people to show up, right? So we have to take that data and use this. So we have to make it a persistent thing. We're like, you don't want to leave Decentraland ever because there's just plenty of opportunities such as that all the time, right? That
Y-
has to be the winning formula. If we recognize 80% of people are driven by that, and
Yeah,
if we think from like a business mindset, like the goal is to generate the most amount of revenue for the Decentraland economy or the ecosystem, that
yeah.
has to be how we do it, right?
So for those who don't know what POAP means, it's proof of attendance protocol.
Yeah.
It's something a team made that kind of proved that you attended some event in some metaverse
It's yeah,
or
it's like a
any
badge, right? Like a
yeah
digital badge.
any digital event. You can get
Think
a
of it as like
POAP.
a Boy Scouts merit badge. You know, you accomplish some task, you get a little pin for your jacket if you're in the Boy Scouts.
Yeah,
It's the same thing. If you show up to any event that has one of these, you get a
yeah.
little badge to pin on yourself.
Yeah,
Digital.
you could argue that the first beta wearables in Decentraland that they gave out, those could be considered proof of attendance too, right? If you had one of those
Yeah.
early wearables, you'd have to essentially be there, but obviously they can be traded. So, but they
Yeah.
represent that somebody spent some time in Decentraland at that point and has collected an NFT to prove it.
Yeah. It's essentially like a workaround from the fact that wearables are not public, you know.
Yeah.
If they were, these event holders could literally, they could just print T-shirts with whatever event they're having and
Yeah.
hand those out instead. But it's not possible now, so we have to still work. But regardless, the incentive mechanism is exactly the same. They're all NFTs, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it goes back to the ultimate goal for the community or anybody who's interested enough to care about creating a metaverse that you want to spend some time in.
mm-hmm.
So we have our own solutions to that we're actively working on ourselves. But I feel like if it's sparse and there isn't a collective force or there isn't a mechanism to fund these ideas, then we're just going to be spinning our wheels for forever. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's no amount of Decentraland creating anything that's going to create DAUs, right? This is a
Mm-hmm.
community push. And if the community is not aligned, we're just going to be flopping in the wind. You know, we're just like a fish out of water.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like,
So I want to see if we're on the same page because even though I mean we didn't talk about this specifically to pregame, but even though we've touched on this in the past, I'm going to pose a question to you.
okay,
So let's say the community has a collective alignment, and that alignment was to say let's build things or let's fund things that improve the DAU. So, what sort of activity could you imagine to happen in Decentraland as an activity that would directly affect DAUs?
well, let's define DAU is just like a pure statistic, right? Like it's
Well, okay, so
every 24 hours, like it gets recorded
yeah,
of how many
how many people
users total like
jump in the
logged in.
game? Yeah. So, okay, let me rephrase that to not have like DAU. It's more like what's going to make you want to come into Decentraland and spend some time in it.
Well, I just told you, like, I'm taking myself out of the equation, but for the 80% of the people, it's going to be just something to take out of it.
So you're saying we should just put popes everywhere and do events
Well, there has to
every
be
day.
something attached. You can use Pope as like a representation, but there has to be some reason for me to go in with an expectation that I'm going to come out with some type of return,
Right.
from my time investment.
Okay, so let's talk specifically as to what that is. Like let's tangibly talk about it. So
Okay.
what activity would you do in Decentraland that would encourage you to come in every day to do it?
It could be any activity, literally, um, because I have a unique perspective, meaning like I spent 10 years playing an MMORPG, and I dedicated a large portion of my life to like a grinding mechanic, meaning like I would spend hours and
Yeah.
hours and hours just doing a repetitive mundane task that, like, if you told like a regular person, like, this is what I did for hours,
Yeah.
you know, literally just go, you can equate it to me just, spamming my mouse, clicking it, and like that's about it. Like, it's not, there's other shit happening on the screen, obviously, because it's a video game, right?
Yeah.
The game designers made a nice, clever little world, you know, that does things whenever I'm doing this,
Yeah.
just clicking. But in reality, in the real world, this is all I'm doing. Spamming my mouse, dude. I'm doing that for hours. But the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm getting something of value in return for all those clicks.
Yeah.
I'm earning an in-game currency, something that I truly valued in exchange for my time, right? I wouldn't have done that if I didn't value it as much.
Yeah.
In this case, I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's possible to replicate that, um, like that desire
Well,
yet from a gameplay perspective.
so you've answered my question. The answer was grinding.
Okay.
And so that tells me that we're on the same page, even
Well,
though
yeah,
we
that's
didn't.
that's why we're doing what we're doing, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think we're talking about this because I mean, if we're tasked as a community to bring up the daily active users (DAU), you know what should we what should we be doing? Who should we be funding? And how do we encourage this type of generation of content, right? And so, like for example, us, you know, we happen to know Corv, my brother, right? And he's building things that well, right now he's starting to build Corona Zombies, which has some grinding elements to it. And
Hmm.
it just so happens that these grind elements encourage the DAU. It encourages people to show up and grind, which brings up the DAU, which is sort of the collective goal. But Corona Zombies by itself is not good enough, right? To move the DAU, it'll help, but we need a collective force to do that. So then we have Ethermon. They're going to bring up the DAU themselves within their own game, and then potentially we have Wonder Zone, right,
Yeah.
with their mining mechanics.
I had a conversation with I don't know how many developers are on the Wonder Zone team, but one of them, and he gave me tons of confidence with like the direction they're heading in, because we never had any prior conversations with them, but we're 100% on the same page, like our mindset and their mindset. Like I don't know if they watch any of our content at all, or we just somehow are operating on the same wavelength as far as like understanding how to best grow this economy, this ecosystem. It's through, the gamification aspect of this NFT minting,
Yeah,
which is what they're doing. That's why they worked. Well, that's why they use the opportunity of being one of the first five to mint a wearable, right? And they're incorporating that into their gameplay to incentivize, people to play it, because they understand people aren't going to just run around and like click on rocks that fall from the sky. I mean, that's not
yeah,
obviously that's not the most captivating, exhilarating gaming experience, right?
yeah,
But it is if every single time you do that, it's like you've got a nickel or you got a dime of valuation, because eventually all these minerals, all these in-game resources that you've been working your ass for are going to give you a return in value.
yeah,
That's literally the whole reason why blockchain is here. You know,
yeah, for sure.
so I mean, they're on the right page. So yeah, there's hopeful signs out there. People are understanding, but that's not the only thing
So
that
yeah,
is.
I was gonna say let's kind of flex these brain muscles that we have and start think of if it's not grinding, what's another
Yeah, there's got to
activity?
be other things. I mean, it can literally just be the community just grows to such a size of non-gaming content, and literally just people who, I don't know. We got DJs everywhere. We got people who have like comedy clubs, maybe people who have like poetry clubs,
Mm.
people who have radio stations like Frankie who have daily radio shows. There's just so much of that in Decentraland, and they all have their little incentive mechanisms, whether it's like a merchandise shop or a little POAP machine, something, to where you're literally just bringing people in all day, every day. It's just nonstop events, right?
Yeah, we heard a couple of guys at another business conference that Maddie put together,
Mm-hmm.
and these game developers were working on the games using Enjin, and Enjin
Yeah.
is just another ERC20 token, but it's also a platform where you can mint NFTs. And what was interesting is that they're making their own game on their own platform, like either a website or some game you download, but there's NFTs associated to it. And but nothing was connected to Decentraland in any way. So there's got to be some incentive to be in Decentraland. There's got to be some desire for game developers to be like, hey, I can also put this game, at least a portion of my game, and have it run in Decentraland. But there isn't any of that. Games in Decentraland only exist within Decentraland. I mean, I guess we have Ethermon now, which you can play in Decentraland and on their website. But they're two independent experiences. There's
Yeah.
two ways to improve the value of your NFT. for Ethermon.
Yeah.
So, I mean that all that to say is we're trying to figure out ways to improve the DAU, and without community alignment, I
Well,
don't.
that's the thing. It's tough to do that because everyone's like doing their own thing, right? It's impossible to organize.
No,
Not
but what you just said, it's almost as if WonderZone and us are on the same wavelength,
true.
right? So that doesn't mean that we can't find others who think the same way, who are going to build different experiences in a similar grinding mechanic. Which we're not saying that's the only way to improve the DAU,
I don't
but
think it's the only way, but I think it's going to be the most obvious way once it's like implemented and matured.
yeah,
You
because
know,
you have an open world, and what do you do in any open world? You grind. Like any open
yeah,
world that's ever existed, there's some grinding aspect to it,
including our own, including the Earth.
including the Earth.
It's the
Exactly.
it's the reason why we've destroyed this planet.
Yes, it is
You know,
exactly right
because
because of grinding.
humanity has been grinding along for so long. We've extracted as much value from this planet as we
Yes.
could.
Yes.
But not for fun. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
fun doing these
Yeah.
things. We do it because it gives humanity and society so much in return. You know, it literally fuels the engine of society.
Yeah.
You know, that's everything. As far as everything from our lives, from going to the same job every single day, clocking in 8 9 hours,
Yeah.
doing the same bullshit every single day. You hate it,
Yeah.
but you do it anyways because you know at the end of the day you get to go home, you get to feed your kids, you get to feed your family,
Yeah.
you get to drive your nice little Toyota to and from work.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's the system we're all living in. You know, it's just this is how we get people to coexist and to cooperate and to like live amongst each other and not like fucking kill your next door neighbor, right? And
Yeah.
take what they have. This is the only way to do it so far. So I don't know what that means. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's just it's frustrating at times just because I don't know.
You know what?
I mean, we have reasons to be frustrated, but we also have
Yeah.
reasons to be
We
not
have lots of
frustrated.
reasons to be frustrated,
Yeah,
but but
maybe we'll
anyways.
tell you guys about that in a future date.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So, I mean, well, the point of this is to kind of figure out like what is the most optimal activity we should be doing. And
Yeah,
we've already said is like we got to be funding these types of experiences because that's what makes the difference with the least amount of money, right? We're talking about funding. We're talking about spending the limited time that we have, right? Doing the things that matter most to affect to ultimately affect the underlying asset, right? Decentraland, right? The more people that we bring into Decentraland, the better everything is, right? So we've been talking about this a lot over the last couple of days, at least, if not more, and we're exploring the idea of enabling more minting to happen on Decentraland. And so the minting that we're talking about is sort of potentially doing 1155 tokens. So what's the big deal here? The big deal here is that minting NFTs is sort of straightforward, right? You can go to any of these platforms and mint NFTs. What isn't straightforward is having some functional aspect to that NFT beyond a picture in a database, because that's what an NFT is. And art NFT tends to be in a database called IPFS, Interplanetary File System. And that is sort of a decentralized storage network. Another one is called Arweave. That's another decentralized storage network. And if you store your image within this decentralized space, your image is sort of safe. It's always going to be there, right? And your NFT will always point to it because it's independent from power outages. It's independent from governments. Independent of all these things, right? That's the
hmm
whole point of decentralization.
yeah,
So, so an NFT is just an image, but to use an NFT in a game, there's a lot more that needs to happen, and so that functionality um, includes. Let me bring it up because Oscar was just talking about this. So that functionality includes not only storing the picture, but setting the price, adding an RNG aspect to your 1155 tokens, or even in this case, in our case, in Corona Zombies, ERC1155 tokens. So say, for example, you mint a weapon in Corona Zombies. That weapon has attributes. Let's say like damage, durability, quality. So those aspects, when you mint them, they're going to be random. And if you're very lucky, you will get a perfect weapon, right? For example. So that isn't built for developers to use. You have to build it yourself. Um, Unlimited off-chain attributes. So if you have on-chain attributes like damage, quality, and durability, you can have a million different other attributes that are off-chain. And so what does that mean? If it's off-chain, then it's not costing you gas to update the NFT. If it's on-chain, if you want it to reflect on-chain, then you have to pay for gas, and then you can reflect an update to your NFT and a progress update, if you will. So, anyways, the list goes on. The point here is that there is a service that we can provide that makes it easier for other developers to create their own 1155 tokens or consumable tokens, like a ticket or food, materials, energy, gems, anything that you can consume in a video game. It can be an 1155 token, and all the RNG aspect to it, the deactivation, activation of sale, selling per a given amount can be done within MetaZone. So this is to say that we believe in like this aspect of grinding in Decentraland specifically that we're thinking about. We're exploring ways to help motivate other game developers to build their experiences with at least a grind mechanic. Does that make sense, Iron Man?
Other developers in Decentraland?
Or yeah, in Decentraland, or even outside of Decentraland.
Yeah, because what's the issue currently is that every developer is facing the same issues with Ethereum, meaning the gas fees are just too damn high, the transaction speeds are too damn low, and yada yada yada. Right? For any kind of real game, if any in-game item you're acquiring or tasked to pick up, right after you kill something, for example, like that, they can't just be ERC tokens, right? Because that requires too much blockchain interaction. Is that the problem with the current model?
Yeah, correct.
So then, the solution has to be some type of workaround, like to solve a couple of issues, to solve the transaction cost and to solve the speed. So that the gameplay experience is as seamless as a traditional game. Like you pick something up, it's in your inventory, and that's it. Like you can interact with that gameplay item, but I guess the solution is to do what? Is we haven't really figured it out yet, right?
Well, no,
We're just toying with the idea.
No, if so a lot of games require some consumable aspect to it.
Yeah.
Like the grind mechanic is that very thing, right? You're grinding for
let's say the minerals from Wonder Zone.
Yeah, the minerals.
That is a consumable, right? Because you're tasked to harvest them and collect them and to eventually consume them in some type of crafting process, right?
Yeah, and so imagine the person who has a bunch of time, right? They can jump into Decentraland and mine these minerals. And because these minerals are 1155, you can actually sell them on the open market. And somebody who doesn't have time but likes to play the game, who wants to craft a wearable, can buy those minerals from you and can craft them the wearable that they want. Right? So we want.
How come Enjin can't do this? And
well, because they're not set up for that. So Enjin, you can mint 1155 tokens, but you have to design the entire game yourself and put it on whatever platform that you want, whether it's Decentraland or a website or the Xbox, right?
So the handling of these ERC1155s is 100% on the game developer.
Right.
whatever game they exist on. You
Yeah.
know, for instance, like in these three at the conference today that DCO Core held, there were three games from the Enjin ecosystem, right? And
Yes.
a lot of them are designing these third-party centralized wallets, essentially custodial services for their own in-game assets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're trying to figure out solutions themselves. Like, dude, we have this game, but fuck, no one wants to play it because the gas fees are just too ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what you're saying is like create like a general service for
Yes.
anyone facing the same problem.
Yes.
I agree, 100%. We do. I think it's a
So
legitimate need
yeah,
for the
so
game.
this goes beyond a little bit by beyond Decentraland.
Uh huh.
But it also helps Decentraland in a way where developers like I mean Oscar would use this right now. If it was built, he would use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not built, and therefore he's probably going to build it. But it just makes it easier for a game dev to be like, I need consumables. I need 10 of them. So I'm going to mint 10 different types, categories of consumables. And but I'm going to allow MetaZone to be the server who governs, what happens to these minerals in my game. Say for example, this mineral gets consumed and it's no longer in my inventory. So all that stuff, it's calling a server and then on top of that, if you want to sell this on the open market, then you can put it on the open market through a process, right? Let's say you don't mint these 1155s until after you want to sell them, right? You mint them, you pay the gas fee, and then you can put them wherever you want, right? Any OpenSea or anywhere. Before you mint them, then you could also take advantage of off-chain transactions, which are feeless, right? If I want to send you an Apple, I can just go to your account, even your ETH address, and send you an Apple without any gas fees. How's that possible? Well, it's a database entry. It goes from my account in the database to your account in the database, and that's it.
So what happens to the value of NFTs? Because you said they're basically mint on demand. Like I guess traditionally in today's NFT world, everything's minted in batches, right? Like if I'm a creator of whatever NFT asset, I can mint 100 of such NFTs,
Mm-hmm.
and they exist, right? As soon as I hit create or submit.
Yeah.
I don't know whose address they go to, either the creator or whatever custodial
Well, it
service.
depends on the platform, but typically
Yeah,
it's the creator.
yeah. But in this scenario, it would be like there's 100 potential NFTs in like non-circulating supply. But as the player decides to mint, like I want the actual real NFT now, so I can sell it on OpenSea or whatever. It's truly minted now.
Yes.
So like now there's a real circulating supply of NFTs, right? So there's like
Yes.
non-circulating and circulating. So what does that do to the actual valuation of an NFT? What do you think? Like it should operate exactly like a cryptocurrency does, right? Like as the circulating supply increases of whatever NFT asset, the valuation should go down, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Pretty much. But
No,
the
that's
the
not true.
game community, the players of said game would sort of dictate how much is in circulation.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like, well, let's say like there's a
Because
hundred
think about it,
potential to be.
you're the miner, right? And I'm the business guy who wants to play the game but doesn't have time, but you do. So you collect all these minerals, and then you sell them to me, right? I buy them off of you. I
Mhm.
buy them because I intend to use them and like consume them. So on my account in my game, I go and consume them, and they're gone, right? Those NFTs are burnt, and so you're not going to continue mining if nobody's buying, right? So there's going to be less in supply because you stopped mining because nobody's buying. So you see how it's by itself. It sort of controls the supply just by the gameplay itself.
Yeah, I get that part, but I'm just trying to compare the difference between, like, say, only 30 out of 100 ever get minted, uh, for I don't know any kind of reason. See
See,
the game just
I think that matters when there's like a huge audience. If Decentraland has like 10,000 or 50,000 active players on a monthly basis, only 100, that's very little.
uh
But I think the only way to scale this is just to let it run. Like if you want to mint more, you can mint more. If not, like let the market decide like how much is needed.
yeah,
Like
okay,
think about it. Think about this. If you wanted to craft a wearable and you didn't have time to craft it, there's a market for people such as yourself to go and grind and sell them. But if you didn't want to craft that wearable, there's no market, therefore no incentive to go and mine it.
yeah,
So so you let the market decide like how many of things are crafted and not think about minting. Minting is the reason why there's metas and minting is because there's so much land and you have to inject that scarcity in order to create that value. It's not the
hmm
same with consumables. It has a completely different mechanism for economies.
mm, okay. I'm just trying to figure out like how this is going to feel from like a player perspective or an NFT collector perspective. You know,
Ultimately, like if you create that material, if you're Wonder Zone, you're creating this mineral, you you use MetaZone to create this material. you can you can create an infinite amount of minerals. It all depends on how many players you get to mine.
yeah,
And those players right in the early days are mining because they themselves want the wearable. So they're going to mine. But maybe one day Decentraland gets big enough to where there's more people that want those wearables that don't have time to mine them, and so or their time is spent better just buying it off the open market.
yeah, I get that. I get that. Like I understand why the in-game grinding aspect is going to happen. What I'm saying is the people who are mining these in the meta zone 1155 scenario, the people who are mining these minerals, they're not collecting ERCs. They're collecting basically meta zone tokens, that represent the minerals. I guess as soon as they harvest them, because they haven't hit that, they haven't paid that gas fee
Correct.
to
Yeah.
put that ownership ID onto the Ethereum blockchain yet,
Correct. Yeah.
right? So what what are they? It's like two different things, right? Like it's a MetaZone token until it's
It's
transferred to
just
Ethereum essentially.
yeah, it's just a database entry that you've collected so many materials or so many minerals.
Our database though.
Our database, yeah. And
So
it's our database as a service. So other
yeah.
game developers can use our database to do this as well.
hmm
And that's sort of what we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. But like today, this thing doesn't exist. Today, any NFT you interact with is an Ethereum NFT.
Yeah.
So your expectation is whenever you're paying for an NFT, is that you're paying for the blockchain support, I guess, of Ethereum for these NFTs. That's part of the valuation. It's part of the
Yeah.
Ethereum ecosystem. Now, if you're providing a service that's outside the Ethereum ecosystem, but it's kind of like a bridge to it, for whenever it counts, whenever you're trying to actually flip it or sell it or transact it, like what's the valuation there? You know, if there's 1,000 in this second layer
Yeah.
existence, but there's only 10 that are actually confirmed and on the Ethereum blockchain, does that mean there's only 10 in existence? Does that mean there's 1,010 in existence? What does that do to the overall valuation then of these in-game assets?
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole different thing that I don't think you've thought about yet. It's a
Well,
whole different valuation system.
so when you look at art, there's only one of them. But that doesn't mean that because there's only one piece of that art that is worth a zillion dollars. So just because you have this mineral that there's only 10 in circulation, that doesn't mean that mineral is worth a zillion dollars either.
Yeah, it does, dude. Like scarcity adds a huge influence on valuation,
Yeah, but
like big
then
time.
why is all the art not a zillion dollars each? They're all unique, right? There's
Yeah,
only
they're all
one of
unique,
one.
but the one of ones, the original art pieces are always more valuable than any one that comes after. Like if you're gonna print like 1,000 copies,
Yeah, but nobody's printing 1,000 copies. Those NFT arts are unique. They're one of ones, all of
yeah,
them.
they are one of ones. Okay.
So how come they're not infinite amount of dollars?
Well, it's not infinite. It's just whoever is the highest bidder. That's the price.
Right.
You know.
So part of it is because people want the art. And so in this case, these 1155s,
But
their
but
price is going to be based on how many people want them.
but look at these wearables, dude. People pay a certain price of a legendary wearable because they know there's 100 in existence, right? That's part of their value. There's a reason why
Well,
a legendary wearable is more expensive than I don't what's the next classic, Swanky or something like that.
mhm,
There's 1,000
yeah.
1,000 goggles. They're cheaper. They're less valuable because there's more in circulation. So if you have 1,000 non-confirmed NFTs in circulation and only 10 confirmed NFTs in circulation, there's no guarantee these other 1,000 are ever going to become legitimate ERC Ethereum NFTs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm taking your example to the extreme point where in the arts case, there's only one of each of these pieces of art.
Okay.
So, but that one piece is not necessarily always worth $1 zillion.
No.
So just because they're rare doesn't increase their value. There's more components to it. Like just because you have 10 minerals out there out of a possible 1,000 doesn't mean that those 10 minerals are worth a lot. It depends on where those minerals came from. Oh, it came from this game. Oh, you play in Decentraland. Oh, you have to mine to get these minerals. Okay, so yeah, I'm willing to spend a few bucks on these just because somebody had to put work to get these out.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I think we leave it up to the market to decide what that price is because who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like it's okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Inevitably, like on the MetaZone, or I guess like whenever it gets to the OpenSea level, the OpenSea NFT is going to have to show what, like how many are in total existence, I guess, like as like a
Yeah,
property or something. I know on MetaZone's interface it's going to show that for sure because whenever a creator mints them, it's going to have like a cap. It's going to have, or it might be infinite. Who knows? But it should monitor how many are in circulation, right?
yeah. I mean, we can jump into Engine.
Yeah. I've actually never looked at Enjin, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, so if we go to
I understand the value of this
Marketplace,
platform. I just haven't, went deep into it yet. I did look at the white paper though. So, oh, here we go.
so there's three sellers for this Dark Scourge. So there's the title, and then we're looking at a description. And then, so one engine is about 18 cents, and they're asking 3,000 engine, which is about $535 for this Lost Relics Dark Scourge.
Hmm.
So this was created a year ago. One view, 1,000 views, 10 holders, 24 transfers, and you can
10
melt this.
holders.
You can melt this into an engine coin, by the way,
Hmm.
which
And then
is
it just burns it.
ERC20. I think it does burn it. Total supply is 20.
So
Circulating
then,
supply is 20.
why is he selling it? Why doesn't he just burn it for money?
I don't know.
I wonder if you get less, or I don't know. Yeah, we gotta do definitely more engine research, or maybe we could find someone to interview. That would be sick. Uh, but I was wondering, I guess the other route, since we are actively developing a game for Decentraland, and we are going to need in-game items that are eventually NFTs, right?
Yeah.
Is Enjin the platform to use?
Yeah, for sure.
Eh, You know, and
Yeah,
it sounds like
or can we take the ERC1155 standard and make our own customizations and additions to it that make sense for us and maybe for
yeah.
other developers?
Otherwise, we're going to be in the same boat as everyone else. Like it's an unplayable game because the assets are just not affordable,
Yeah.
right?
See, but
So
this is not a consumable, right?
yeah, it's not a consumable.
This is like a game like special asset.
It's like the equivalent to like a gun in Corona Zombies.
Yes,
Kind
that's
of, right?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
So
that is
here's
just
a
disgusting.
legendary gem.
Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty basic. Still $1.78, dude.
Shit, this
That's
one's 17. This is almost $20.
oh, that's their asking price?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, they have a reserve down there. 10 Enjin is a reserve. Okay.
So it's a
Wow.
platform, 6 dragons. We'll click on that in a second. So 171 views, 31 holders, 69 transfers. Supply is infinite. Total supply infinite. Circulating 76. See that? So this is a consumable.
So it sounds like Enjin is doing exactly what we're talking about, right? Because they have an infinite supply and it's tracking how many are in existence, how many people are holding it, and so they must have some type of backend, right?
Well, yeah. So all these have some sort of back end because there's a lot of stuff that you want to keep track of, and that's why
Yeah.
you have a back end. But there's probably some gameplay aspects that is tracked only by the game developer itself. And
Mhm.
so what we want to do is we want to make it easy for other game devs to have functionality of gameplay, but as a service to make it easier for them. Because that way, because you could build an entire game if as long as you had a back end and make it easier for yourself,
Okay.
and then just create like an ecosystem, sort of like Enjin has. Because Enjin, they just mint these tokens, and all of these are on-chain transactions, right? That's why they're here. Like you can go and follow every single transaction and from the beginning. Like you can see the price increasing per sale, per trade.
Yeah, that's right. There's no, yeah, the difference is okay. So, yeah, we're gonna have to talk about this some more for
Yeah,
sure.
so I want to look at this game, see just what they're doing. 6 dragons. So it says 6 dragons. The first blockchain-powered open-world RPG. The game features a massive world of 64 kilometers squared, more than a billion dungeons. A billion dungeons.
The fuck?
Sophisticated blockchain crafting and enchanting system, and a huge decentralized game economy.
Wow,
Well,
that's pretty.
we gotta look at this.
Yeah. What's it called? The what dragon?
The 6dragons.com.
Sixdragons.com.
So pre-alpha tester.
All
I
right.
wonder if this is
They
gonna
have
be
some
too
pretty nice
loud.
artwork. Looks like a nice, sexy little Steam game or something you could download. You know.
Okay, we're watching this trailer. It's like a first person
It's definitely like an
world.
open world. Yeah. This looks nice. They have like action bars just like you would in World of Warcraft. It's very
Yeah.
Okay, so you're collecting resources. So these are the ERCs, I'm assuming. 1155. Dude, I kind of want to play this game. This game looks sick. You got talent, dude. This is like a total WoW ripoff, though, dude. Everything looks exactly the same. Did you turn off the sound in case there's like copyright issues or something? Oh, I can't even hear you.
No, it's No, I'm not. I won't cut this out. No, it's interesting just to see what they. It's just like a first-person RPG game where you kill stuff.
Yeah. And there's dungeons. I'm pretty. We can't. We gotta wait for the dragon, dude. Where the dragon's at? There it is.
Oh, there's 3-headed dragon.
Some kind of creature. Oh shit, dude, that guy looks crazy. Looks like the devil.
Yeah.
Alright, Cool. So, what's your impression of that, Will?
Um,
Would you play that game?
um,
Be honest, dude. Don't be fake and gay.
uh, probably, probably not. I check it out for sure.
How come you wouldn't? Just because it's not your style of game, or
No,
you
no,
didn't think?
I don't know. I just, I don't know, man. Uh,
Is there a game you would check out? Like what or no?
I think if I play games, it's like purely for entertainment, and there has to be a high concentration of entertainment, like a multiplayer game, like a shooter,
I think
like where
that's
I
a
can
multiplayer.
like pick up and like interact and PvP like instantly, and
Hmm.
then be done in like 20 minutes, and then move on.
Ah, so you don't like the time commitment.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the thing. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, pretty
Time
much.
time commitments and grinding, like I can't do that.
Dude, but we're designing a game with time commitment and grinding as a focal.
No, yeah, I know, but that doesn't mean that I wanna grind. I think grinding is like an important aspect of gaming.
Yeah, dude, it's all
Um,
right. I'll do all the grinding for you, dude. That's gonna be my job, dude. I'll be
I'll
grinding my
just buy
ass
that
off.
off of you, dude.
That's right. I'll sell you all my minerals. You make the wearables or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
You power level your weapons and stuff. You know,
yeah,
I'll
for
make the
sure.
money, dude. Or we'll
Um,
both make money. You can flip it on an open sea, whatever.
so yeah, just to show that we've been testing on the Rinkeby network these NFTs, and Oscar's been working pretty hard on this stuff, and he's also been doing the smart contract payments platform, as well as so the smart contracts are going to do a couple of things. So as soon as you pay, you get the NFT, right? And then creators can mint these NFTs, and then part of the functionality of these NFTs are the splits. So all that is coming like really fast. But then we were thinking about Corona Zombies, and just like Oscar, when he built the block runner of the game, he built a block runner game before he built MetaZone. In case you
Yeah.
guys don't know the history. And so when he
Mm-hmm.
built the block runner game, he realized, wait a minute, there's a couple of things that are missing here from the overall aspect of Decentraland that makes it difficult to deploy stuff. So he was like, okay, so we need a platform that allows for the distribution of these games because it's just too complicated for the regular person to, go into their code base and like add stuff to their land. So then MetaZone came. So now he's building this open world RPG on on Decentraland, and he's starting to realize, wait a minute, there's some missing things here that we could fix through MetaZone, and so now we're starting to explore 1155 tokens. But before we get to 1155, we're gonna get these meta NFTs out, and then the smart contract payments and all that. So this is a forward thinking podcast for now, but there's a lot of aspects that can be solved just thinking about this stuff out loud. But so we have about 10 more minutes, I'm in, and I wanted to show you this, get your reaction. So first, this is cool, man. Here's the creator splits: 20%, 10%, 40% for the landowner, MetaZone split, and then monthly pool split.
Mm-hmm.
So everything's here. And the most important aspect is you can deploy the block runner game if you have this NFT. If not, it's just not going to deploy. So making progress there, but check this out. So this is a non-related segue, but one of the things that are pretty frustrating for me yesterday was reading this. So check this out. Trump retweeted a video with false COVID-19 claims. One doctor in it has said demons cause illness.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go look in here, it says it turns out Stella Emanuel has a history of making particular outlandish statements indicating or including that the uterine disorder called endometriosis is caused by sex with demons that take place in dreams. And
Pretty
so
crazy.
so a lot of this stuff so she says a bunch of weird stuff like hydroxychloroquine is a cure for COVID. Um, She says that demon semen causes like illnesses, and Trump retweeted it. So what's the big deal here? So one of the things I was thinking about was that these conspiracy theories, there's a lot of them now, especially around coronavirus. You know, Bill Gates is going to create this vaccine, which ultimately injects a chip into you, and now they can track you. Which, by the way,
that's the mark of the beast, dude.
Yeah, but which, by the way, we're already being tracked. I don't know if you've been paying attention to TikTok or Facebook or Google or Alexa. I mean, we're already being tracked.
Yeah, they had a big like congressional hearing yesterday about that.
Yeah,
I
watched some of it.
All the tech giants.
Yeah, it was interesting.
They're like, "What the fuck, guys?
Of course,
like, you guys are too powerful."
We listened to Mark Zuckerberg twice talk about cryptocurrencies. Twice. At this congressional hearing, he came back again, and they're talking about antitrust issues. They're talking about anti-competitive issues. But ultimately, these CEOs, they're trained to say the exact same thing, that they're not anti-competing, they're open platforms, blah, 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 and all this nonsense. And what's sort of frustrating about these congressional hearings is nothing gets accomplished. It's just a bunch of congressmen and women asking a bunch of questions that lead to nothing, and ultimately nothing changes. So I guess I haven't been paying attention long enough to see any change, any change outcome by these congressional hearings, but ultimately they lead to nothing. But so that's sort of like a side note. But what I was thinking about these conspiracy theories is it becomes frustrating to me because I run into a bunch of people asking me about these things, and family members and so forth. And what's frustrating about it is that I have to talk about things that are unrelated to the conspiracy theory to prove that the conspiracy theory is wrong. Like it's a nonsensical thing. And for example, I have to explain physics, chemistry, science, how scientists work, how the science mechanisms work. So these things have absolutely nothing to do with the underlying question of the conspiracy theory, right? Is Bill Gates creating that vaccine? It's like, that's not even the proper question. It's like, why are you afraid of a vaccine with a chip in it when you're already being tracked? Like, why is that your concern now?
Well, it's because of the Revelation thing, the mark of the beast. You never read that? I mean, it's just an irrational fear, obviously, from like the far right who are correlating it to some type of like a antichrist thing. It's supposed to be like end time prophecies. Like whenever they're putting the mark of the beast on you, like that's it. It's GG.
So in 2020, the mark of the beast is this chip inside your body.
Or they're speculating on however the beast, I guess, which is I guess the government or the elites, whoever runs shit, is the devil, and they're supposed to mark everybody, with the 666 thing, and I guess that's supposed to be these RFID chips that are, they're interpreting it that way. It doesn't make it true, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But that's where the fear comes from.
100 years ago, what's the mark of the beast in that century?
100 years ago?
100 years ago.
I don't know what was going on back then.
Okay, so then what is the mark of the beast 100 years from now?
I don't know.
It's like a neural implant.
Could be anything that's like
but
on your
see
person.
My point
that's
is that it's always continuously changing. This is a thing that we're never gonna defeat.
Yeah.
And I was listening. You should watch this podcast. I was listening with what's his name? The Star Talk Radio, Neil deGrasse Tyson. And they had a podcast specifically on conspiracy theories, and I agree with what they're saying is that conspiracy theories is like a psychological way to explain something that's very complicated. Like for example, it is easier to think of a conspiracy theory for something that one human couldn't have caused. Like for example, one person got COVID through a bat in whatever way that he got it, and spread it throughout the entire planet. It's hard for a lot of people to believe that that's even possible just because one man infected an entire planet.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, it can't be that because it has to be the government making, it has to be the Chinese government making this this virus and spreading it through the water and just spreading it somehow, like some huge conspiracy theory. That makes more sense to them that could infect the entire world versus one man getting sick and
Yeah.
doing it. So there's a psychological explanation as to why these conspiracy theories exist. And another reason why they exist is because there's actually real conspiracies like Epstein. Who do you think killed Epstein?
We'll never know. Just some kind of like a hired op,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It could be Trump. It could be
Oh, you mean like who? Yeah, who called the shot? Yeah, it could easily be Trump, but
yeah.
I don't think so.
But the point is that is a literal, provable conspiracy. There's no way this man gets arrested, is put in like a holding cell, and then commits suicide of one of the biggest like stories of this decade,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that is a real conspiracy, right? There are real conspiracies. So when another one comes up about COVID or vaccines, it's good to be skeptical, but it's not good to be so skeptical that it's a danger to humanity, right? Families, like vaccines and COVID, like should we wear masks or not? And so that's what was frustrating to me is like I have to explain these things that are wrong to people who don't understand like the underlying scientific method.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm just talking about how like it's a never ending issue, and ultimately it's very easy to get around this stuff. Like it's very easy. You just rely on the experts, right? Like this lady, she's a doctor, but she's saying demon sperm is causing this illness or that illness.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the scientific method. It's not to trust a scientist. It's to trust science, the collective, the consensus. And the consensus isn't saying there's demon sperm that's doing this, right? The
Yeah.
consensus is saying put your mask on when you go to the store. That's what the consensus is saying. All you got to do is trust the consensus.
Yeah. I don't think the consensus is believing in that story either, though. You know what I mean?
No, I
Consensus
know,
of the
but
population.
but that's the point is that there are people, because of psychology, because of real conspiracies, they're believing in this stuff.
Yeah, there's gonna be those people, and that's just anything, dude. It's just that's a side effect of the internet. That's all it is. And
But
internet and media and like dissemination of information. There's so much of it that nobody knows
the
which
problem
one's the
is
reliable source
there's
anymore.
a lack of critical thinking.
Oh, there's that too.
And the reason why there's a lack of critical thinking is because science is like this thing that you learn in high school, and then it doesn't apply in real life, right? And which is not true. Science is like the underlying architecture of everything that we know.
Hmm. Yeah.
And people don't understand that, like, and so I have to go back to like the roots of nature and physics and science and all that to explain that there's no such thing as demon sperm.
Well, that's the thing. Not everyone's wired to understand or even contemplate these things. I think that's the problem. The
Yeah.
separation is like your understanding of things and how your brain operates, and like the general population. Like it's just like it's a never. There's no solution to this problem. It's just like the human condition.
Well, and then on top of that, I mean, our president
Oh yeah, that's the
is
real problem.
is pushing it.
There is a solution to that problem because that's just one man. The solution is for people to elect the right person. But then again, see, the reason why the right people aren't being elected to these high positions of power is because the people are the problem. The people don't understand like exactly what you're explaining. You know. they don't apply this critical thinking method to their lives. Instead, they rely on outside sources for their opinions and their viewpoints. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, it's ultimately like there is
this is
no
also like, this is what contributes to my doomsday beliefs. You know?
what stupid people.
Well, yeah. This is. I don't see anything that's making it any better, dude. Like, at least for our country, our culture. I think it's been on a rapid decline ever since I've been born. I haven't seen progress. I've only seen degress.
Yeah.
Each generation just continually like disappoints. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our education system becomes less and less
It's
impact
provably
impactful.
it's provably irrelevant now
Yeah.
that COVID sort of forced it, like exposed schools.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's even taken to another level now. Kids can't even go to school because of COVID, so their education's like literally in the tubes. So now we have a generation who's going to be way worse off than we were,
Yeah.
and then like it's just more and more problems, dude. To top off the fact that we're, our generation that has less like the worst performing education performance, like we're also like the most debted generation ever because of this poor quality of education, you know.
And by the way, this intelligent doctor was talking about demon sperm. She's from Houston.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense. There's a lot of doctors in Houston, dude.
Yeah, there is.
There's a shit ton. This
See,
is like the
but
medical capital.
man, like I can't do this, man.
What do you mean, dude?
Just don't just don't ask me anything about conspiracy theories, man. I just can't do it.
Dude, don't talk to Rick, dude. Dude, yeah, everyone's into them, dude. They're just fun. They're sexy.
Okay, they're fun to talk about, but come on. Like as far as like reality, no.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody cares about what's real, dude. It's just about what's entertaining.
I don't know,
There's
man.
more important people out there to figure out like what the truth is. Let them do that.
See, that's not what's happening though. The armchair quarterbacks out on the internet and Twitter, they're telling everybody not to wear masks because it's against the
Well,
Constitution.
yeah, that's again a cultural problem. Just because like there's a portion of the population that is so diehard like Constitution because it's literally part of the propaganda. That like the Constitution is a sacred document that was created by the greatest of men that like they're wizards of humanity, right? They can't be wrong about anything, even though this document was forged 300 years ago or more, right?
Yeah.
It's not like those people lived in a completely different environment than what we live in. Like, so this document should be changed. Like if you even bring that up to people, like it's like a non-starter, because it's against this document. So like in a way, like the Constitution has become like a religious text. It's blasphemy to bring it up. You
Yeah.
can't do it. So there's people you can never convince, dude. It's just part of it. And that's also feeds into my doomsday scenarios, dude, because there's so much division over this exact thing, dude. And that's partly why you see it, because it's like an attack. This whole mask thing, it's like a left versus right. You know,
Yeah,
you're
and
you're claiming your side essentially.
you know, it's pretty weird because I keep telling these conspiracy theorists that the scientific consensus isn't pointing to this theory, right? So you shouldn't really take it seriously. But then you have a doctor or one scientist or one test or one trial that supports their conspiracy claim, and all of a sudden they're like, you see a scientist or you see a doctor, you see, your scientific community is like, it's because they don't understand what the scientific method is. It's like rigorous testing, independent testing, all that stuff. And like for example, her quote here says, big tech is censoring experts and suppressing the cure for the coronavirus, and threatened. So she threatened that God will crash Facebook servers for allegedly deleting her page.
Damn.
I, I don't know, man. Like,
I mean, aren't you used to it by now, dude? You're like,
I'm never used to like this level of inaccurate information. Like, I'm never used to it.
yeah, dude.
Like, I don't understand how people can read stuff like this and think like, oh, you know what? Holy shit, there are demons. Holy shit, there are demons. Because his doctor confirmed it.
Yeah. How come demon is highlighted in demon sperm and it's also highlighted in demonstrably?
It's because I searched for demon.
Oh, okay. I'm like, why are you highlighting like every demon in this article, dude? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about this other than I told you so, dude. Like, it's all coming down, Will. The sooner you realize that and the sooner you buy some chickens, the better off you are, dude.
I disagree, dude. I don't think it's all coming down. I think
we're due for a reset event, is what I'm saying. When I say it's all coming down, that's what I mean.
Well, the pandemic would reset that.
Oh, dude, this ain't shit, dude. Trust me. This ain't nothing. We haven't seen nothing yet, dude. Trust me.
Okay, well, on that happy note, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
This has been the Block Runner Podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Block Runner and MetaZone.io. Join our Discord. If you have any comments about our NFT talk or conspiracy theories, just ask us questions about NFTs instead of conspiracy theories.
Yeah, that's just jibber jabber. The real important news is NFTs are coming.
Yeah,
we're finally working on it. Like it's getting pieced together as we speak. You know, I think it's going to be huge. In fact, you guys have told us it's going to be huge, so I know it's going to be huge. This is what everyone's been waiting for, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And we talk about it we talk about it. We just talked about it today. Like, that's what drives everything, is like the NFTs in these games, in the metaverse, you know. So it makes sense that these creators are waiting for it. The landowners are waiting for it. Who knows what opportunities will present once it's actually live?
Yes.
We'll see.
Yeah, and give us your thoughts on ERC1155 tokens. So we'd like to hear more and see what the community thinks about it. But
totally.
So thank you, and we'll see you next week.
All right, guys. See you later.